Hi, folks. As I told you in one of my last videos, Secretary of State Blinken was in Saudi Arabia this week for 3 days. Actually, all this travel was around to try to make a different uh, view on the relations with Saudi Arabia. And for on the other hand, to try to convince the Saudis to normalize the relations with Israel, with the aim, I think, of making this connection between the all Arabian Peninsula and between the Red Sea and the Mediterranean to make a measure against the Chinese initiatives on the area, because Saudi Arabia is kind of escaping towards the Chinese development projects with the BRICS, and by the other hand, uh, they are too much now connected with Russia, with the OPEC plus, uh, slashing the production of oil and making the prices rise. They will rise in the next few months. And Blinken was kind of very much pissed off with these measures by Riyadh, because this will guarantee the Russians to have an extra income that is not in the plans of the United States. But this was the first visit from Blinken to the kingdom, the Saudi kingdom, and he met both with MBS, Mohammed bin Salman, um, the de facto leader of the country, uh, and with the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, Faisal bin Farhan. Um, the this goal of trying to normalize relations with Israel is actually kind of strategic for the Americans, because they want to dominate the whole area, the whole peninsula, not only to make competition to the Chinese development projects with these I2, U2 we have talked about in the previous one of the previous episodes. They want actually to connect with India. India is a very big issue where now the Americans are trying to push them to their side, and they are kind of getting a lot from the Indians in a strategic view to make confrontation with China, and this is a very big issue. And the other one is Turkey. We will discuss both of these two countries here soon, because they can be decisive actually for this balance between the Euro-Atlantic world and the Eurasian world. There are two countries in that area, especially Turkey, I think, because it has a more strategic position between halfway between Asia and Europe. But India, as a subcontinent, by its population, by the access to the Indic Ocean and the Pacific, uh, it is also very important. These are two different issues that we will discuss one of these days for sure. There are some articles, very good articles, that they are talking about this strategic um, outview of this new administration of Blinken. Blinken is a neocon, but he's liberal neocon, a hawkish um, kind of perception of the reality in the geopolitics, with this perception of confrontation. Yeah, it's very confrontational, and he is trying to assure that Saudi Arabia will recognize Israel for various reasons, but one is geographic, to make Israel being accepted by the neighbors. But here's the problem, because Israelis are not very keen to recognize the Palestinians. So here is a big problem with Saudi Arabia, for example. They have said, yes, we are willing to normalize relations with Israel, but first, my friends, you, first peace and a solution for the Palestinians. And this is the thing that I think that they haven't get too much news from it. What is very mm, significant from the perspective of the Israelis on all these relations is that Blinken has received a call, or he called Netanyahu right afterwards from talking with one of these two guys, either the Ministry of the Foreign Affairs or MBS. He talked directly for Israel. I can imagine that was Netanyahu calling him right afterwards to know what was new, because he is very anxious to be recognized by Saudi Arabia. Um, there are no, for example, there are no flights, direct flights between Saudi Arabia and Israel. But last year, no, last year, yes, when Biden was there in Jeddah, in Saudi Arabia, they made the first approach to this kind of development, and he flew from Israel to Saudi Arabia. They make an exception. They opened the sky for a flight from Israel. This was kind of symbolic, but not even that is recognized by both two countries. So um, this is a major thing that Biden wants to do in his administration, to make Saudi Arabia recognizing Israel, because it is a personal thing against Trump. Because if you get it, it is a major goal that was done by Biden for that Zionist kind of elect so voters that might think, oh, so Biden is not so bad. He now making Israel uh, recognized by Saudi Arabia, a very important country. But in fact, the relations between Saudi Arabia and the United States are very affected by per- personally by Biden, because what he has said about MBS, what he has said about Saudi Arabia being a pariah country, almost barbaric country, like that. He said that when he was even a candidate, yeah. And so we all know that relations between Biden and MBS are very bad. MBS will for sure uh, support Trump to be reelected, to be elected again. I mean, against Biden. And but the perception is that mm, Biden was furious. mm, uh, with all this approach between Saudi Arabia and Russia in the last times, because of this. Uh, this Russia will increase the revenues with this. mm. And now he sent uh, Jack Sullivan. We have talked about it like last week or 10 days ago, something like that. He was there, Sullivan, yeah, as a advisor, a national security advisor. But he tried still to make a confrontation with China, and the Saudis didn't like that. So now, when Blinken came, he came with a very different approach. He said, "No, we are not here to push you against the Chinese. There is space for everyone." So now they are not being so arrogant as before, but we still know that this kind of speech by the Americans mean every time it means the opposite they want to say. So when they say that they are not that they have nothing against the Chinese, that something is wrong there. I mean, we all understand between the lines, yeah. So actually, the Saudis, the minister, the foreign minister bin Farhan said actually that no one has to do and say nothing about their Saudi relations with other countries, meaning Saudi Arabia. So they are putting the Americans in their place. I mean, they say, you come here now, you need us. We don't need you so much. We have big partners, India. Now we are developing relations again with Iran, strategic, important neighbor, and the Americans are not liking this. And actually, Blinken said that they will never accept that Iran has nuclear weapons. Blinken was trying to play Iran against the Saudis when he knows that now they are normalizing relations. Very bad. They are kind of desperate. And this is symptomatic of many things that are changing in the region, in the perception of the whole geopolitics dynamics in that region, especially in that region. Gulf, Eurasia, Indic, Pacific. This is it has a lot to do with what happened in Syria. Now Syria has rejoined the Arab League, as we talked here before in the previous chapter. And Yemen right now is in a stand by stand war, which is a good thing for diplomacy and um, to a different view on relations between Iran and Saudi Arabia. So now let's see what happens from it. I think there's two most important things uh, to take from this visit from Blinken in Saudi Arabia is that they want to do this in until the end of this administration, the recognition of Israel by the Saudis, but it's not clear. They even try to make now um, creative solutions like Gaza, Transjordania, with the capital of Palestine in East Jerusalem. So to see if the Saudis accept this, but it's not. It's still to be seen if this will work out. And by the other hand, is the second big thing is that the level and the approach by the Americans now is much less arrogant, much more realistic. They now perceive that they are not the power that so important power they were. That is the fact. They need this is something that I haven't read right now in this news about this visit, but they need cash to sustain their debt ceiling. They have now uh, they increased the ceiling, the debt ceiling last week. That means they need countries with liquidity, so money that they can invest in their titles, in the treasury bonds, to sustain their debt. And these are countries that really could do that, but even they know that the whole American business and sustaining and betting uh, their money on treasury bonds are only dependent in one thing, is the military power of the Americans. And right now we are in a no way out street. uh, so what will happen next? Are the Americans ready to start wars everywhere? There's many things happening now: Ukraine, China, Iran, all this area, Caucasus, Balkans, and many very the economy in whole Europe and the United States is very scary what is happening, but that will be um, issues to talk in new programs ahead. So I will wait you here. Stay tuned, and so until the next time, see you then.